I was in another meeting, I guess.
No worries, no worries. I know a lot of that is going on right now, and
Yeah.
it's interesting, isn't it? We're in a new world.
We are. You look lovely.
Thank you.
My construction site, so I look more than they can play back.
You look beautiful as always. So,
Yeah.
wow, I'm so excited for you to be joining us for our first issue of Women Pushing Dirt. As I talked to you before, I explained to you just how much I've just kind of watched you. And I want our audience to know when they read your story and actually view your story is that I have never met you before in person. I've just seen your story on social media, and that's how impactful your story has been for me, just watching and seeing your business grow and seeing you help people. Oh, wow. It's just an amazing thing to me to watch. And I've seen it grow over the years. So we've only been friends on Facebook, I would say 3 to 4 years. And it's just been an amazing venture to watch. I want everybody to know we have Elizabeth Singleton in the house. She is a woman that is pushing dirt, baby. She is pushing dirt. And she owns Tiny House Development and Build Us Hope organization, which is a nonprofit that helps homeless veterans, which is absolutely dear to my heart. I am a mom of 2 veterans, both were in the Navy. And thank you, thank you. And so I know how important that is. But let me just tell you guys a little bit more about Miss Singleton. She was also Woman of the Year in 2018. So she's from Phoenix, Arizona, and we're just glad to have her here tonight with us. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let you talk a little bit about everything you do. Give us your desires, your understanding, what brought you to the point of pushing dirt?
Well, thank you for having me on the show. You did a good announcement there about me, and again, I'm from Arizona. Our nonprofit is Build Us Hope, and our for-profit that supports our nonprofit is Tiny House Development. And currently, we are building small tiny house communities here in Arizona, and working on advocating for small house communities and small house living or tiny house living throughout the United States. So we are currently advocating and working with Dr. Ben Carson with HUD and FHA and even the White House to try to make tiny house living more friendly. Tiny houses aren't new. We've all started off here in America with the wagons to the small homes to what we have now. So we're moving that for but affordable housing for individuals on lower income spectrum. Tiny houses can fill the need quickly for those who are in need of affordable housing. So we're definitely pushing forward with that. And then on my advocacy side, we do focus on affordable housing and housing solutions and deregulating our states. And we also work, which is different from tiny house developers, but as a consultant, I provide support and policy reforms to the current administration and to administrations in the past.
Awesome, awesome. Well, one of the things that I heard you mention is just really getting a chance to do affordable housing. And what's so great about affordable housing to me is my passion, is that I realize that everyone deserves a home that they can afford, that they can feel comfortable and safe in. And I think that's kind of almost scarce throughout our communities at the present time. So what are you doing to bring that about with the tiny homes?
Well, yes, I also support that. That's funny how you say that affordable housing is a home that you can afford, and that's clean and safe. And so we have just been pushing for the tiny homes as having that. I don't believe it's an alternative housing form. It's just us going back to simplicity, making it easier by removing regulations. Right now, tiny houses have more regulations than any type of housing source right now. Basically making it hard to build and affordable to build. Where I can build 3 tiny homes on a community for $90,000, the regulations would keep me up to three or 400,000 to build this small community. And so we're trying to remove barriers to tiny homes. A lot of city planners and cities and counties have policies that a house is no less than 1,000 square feet, where those policies we're trying to get removed, those requirements we're trying to get removed or have more states recognize tiny homes appendix Q, which is a current requirement or policy or bill that is a part of the 2018 residential codes. And so we're trying to really focus on removing the barriers to discriminating against tiny homes within city communities, and also remove barriers to financing of tiny homes within our federal government and then our financial communities.
Awesome. That is always a part. I know when I started out in real estate at age 18, and I was too young to sell a person a house. Even though I had my license, they just didn't take me serious. So I went ahead and went into lending first, and I did that for a while. And then after moving from lending, I did appraisals, and then I still had my real estate license. So then I started doing I was a broker. So my question to you is, do you need to also educate the community itself? Do you need to educate the professionals too? Do you need to educate the real estate brokers, the real estate appraisers? Or those are also people that you have to educate?
Well, I think that's yes to all of them, because a lot of realtors in our environments are familiar with the tiny homes, and they're familiar with their square footage and requirements. A lot of them think that there's no way you can build a tiny house or a tiny house community. We're building tiny homes and tiny house communities. So education is always great for realtors to also know what counties in their state and cities that allow for tiny house living, whether that be on foundation or that be mobile. And so there's two differences between the tiny houses. You have the foundation tiny homes that are typically between 100 and 600 square feet. And then you have tiny houses that are mobile, which are typically between 90 to, could be up to 400 square feet. And so tiny house, usually the definition of tiny house is between 100 and 400 square feet. So getting it out to the realtors and brokers and lenders, educating them on what can be financed. So tiny houses and foundations more likely can be financed traditionally, where tiny houses on wheels can be financed, but they have other methods that they go through to get that financing for their clients. So we have a lot of realtors that we work with today, realtors, lenders, and property owners, to sell property that we know that we can have a tiny house be placed on and can be built on. And so we kind of work with partnerships and educating them and doing some of their yearly training modules to educate them on tiny house, what type of lands and zoning codes to look for, so they can be better informed, because their tiny houses are not going away. It's actually picking up even since COVID-19. We have seen an increase in people looking for tiny houses or guest houses or temporary dwelling units to move family closer.
Awesome. So what would you say has been a smooth thing that you've had to go through in your process of creating your business plan?
I don't know. I wish it was smooth. I've been doing this since 2015, and I wish I could say that it was smooth in creating that business plan. The business plan I originally started out with was to save the world and heal the nation with affordable housing, and then creating a sustainable model that would be affordable. I've had to make quite a bit of adjustments in realizing that maybe I had to focus more on changing some of the policies, some of the requirements, and some of the regulations to focus on not leaving. I'm not looking to open the door for just myself. I'm looking to open the door to leave it open for those who come behind me, so they won't have such a innovation and accomplishing this type of model, which is getting better. And I don't want to be all negative. It is getting better. So our business plan now focuses on we are moving. We see that the market it went from we were focusing 100% on tiny houses on mobile on wheels to 65% of our business, 65 or 75% of our business, we're looking at foundation smaller homes.
Oh wow!
They still do have the presence of tiny house on wheels, where there's a lot of compact, a lot of smaller living, simplicity, but we're seeing a lot more be built and requested for on wheels, and even though those models can also be a higher cost when it comes to the tiny house on wheels, we just see more requests for those type of homes.
Awesome.
Moved into focusing on development. We do site development, plan reviews. We build your architectural plans and engineering plans, your grading and drainage plans. So we work with the whole development part of building a community or building one home or building a accessory building or guest house. So we went into a full service model of development and creating these homes. And so that has changed for us. But I've always looked at us being a total package for people. And we are, one of the, we're one of the, in our state, the only companies that really do that whole packaging when it comes to tiny homes and tiny house developments, along with fighting for clear regulations.
Awesome. Great. So we talked about something that's smooth. What's a hurdle that you're trying to get past right now with what you're trying to do?
So basically, we are building the first tiny house community here in Arizona that's on wheels, that is in a city ordinance, so downtown. And it is just really working partnership with our zoning department to have this will be the first tiny house community that we will see in most states that is located within the city that is affordable housing, but it's also open to the public, so it balances both. You have to have a mixed community. And I think the hurdles about that is just people experiencing change and people realizing that, getting away from the concept of planners thinking that anything under 500 square feet is a shed. It's just, the majority of people that live in a tiny house, their income ranges between $60,000 and $100,000. So you're not. It's not an income barrier for people. It's a vast variety of people. So you have to move away from the stereotypes that you're creating a poverty-type environment when you're not. You're creating a home environment. You're creating a lifestyle environment. So the hurdles that we face have been pretty much getting easier as we educate. We've decided the team and build the plan with our planners. So each step is recorded and we're moving forward with them. I think the hurdle is just getting past that planner stigma and to move your project to go faster. And most builders have the same problem, whether they're building a tiny house or just a regular community.
Okay, great. What I really want to close on is, what do you want the women to know that's just now starting out? We have women that will be going into real estate. We have women that want to develop. We have women that maybe want a tiny home themselves. What do you want them to know about your industry, your specific goals? You started out with save the world and heal the nation. And I guess how many years in? Where are we now?
We started in 2015, so we're a couple of years in. I want to be positive about it as well. Tiny houses, as far as developers and especially women developers, is a successful business. I want to say don't give up if this is your dream as a developer of any type of environment, because you're going to learn it's just not a tiny house community where may have difficulties. I think that if you know what you want to accomplish, I think that those goals, if you be positive about it, you don't give up, don't take no for an answer, always take that as your 15th answer down the line. start off with understanding that no is always yes with just the turnaround. It's just the opposite of what your mindset is. And so set your goals, set a business plan of what you want to achieve. As a developer, you need to make sure that you have a clear plan, you have good policies and procedures put in place, the contracts put in place to protect yourself, and then know what your outcome goals. So let's remove the nonprofit, because as a for-profit company, we set in our standards of what we want to do and what we want to achieve, and don't settle for it. So I want them to know that we're moving forward. We're opening the doors for them. It's going to be a lot more easy for them as a developer, but don't give up. As a realtor, this is a good market for you to start investing your time in, because this market is exploring and exploding, and I've seen sales, and we're giving a lot of property sales to realtors out there. So it's in a positive mindset. If you want to become a developer, you want to become a realtor, if you want to be a successful woman, you first have to know what your goals are, what you want to accomplish, and why you're doing this. If this is your destiny, you're going to be successful in it by staying and sticking to it. And so that's what I have to say. We are the change that we want to be, but we can be as successful, helpful to each other, mentor others, by the way. Always understand that. And love, most of all, what you do.
Absolutely. So I do wellness. So I want to ask you this question too. How do you balance it all? Because every time I see you, you're gorgeous. People just address you with the highest honor and esteem. You always are so humble and you're graceful. But I think you also have a family, right? And you have other things going on. So as women, we are always holding these plates up, and we're trying to just balance and still step out and be empowered and all those things. So I want to ask that. And then the last question, COVID-19. How has it affected you, and how has it turned you around to make your story even better?
Well, to your first question, the balance, I had to learn how to balance my life. I do have 3 children, one who is still in the home, and 2 are now, one's in the military and the other one is off to college. And I was a workaholic, and it was very unhealthy for me, and spiritually, my health-wise. And so I had to really take time. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I walk at 5 o'clock, I meditate. I also make that time for my daughter and giving her time. But then Sundays, I'm off. I don't work no matter what, because that has to be my time, especially one-on-one with my kids, or just to regroup. When I was working so much, I wasn't getting anything accomplished. And so if you're working from sun up to sundown, you have to ask yourself, what can you do different to make sure that you're not going to continue that pathway where you can't get help? And it's bad for your body. I gained so much weight, but this walking has been weird. And you know what? You're going to have to learn to say no. If those meetings, you sit in a meeting for 2-3 hours and you get out of it and you're like, what did I learn? What did I get out of it? Then you're wasting your time. So you have to be able to say no to people. You have to be able to set goals and for your personal time, and then have a cutoff time. So I have a cutoff time. When I'm at home, I cut off at that time, and I don't do anything else, because if I'm not functional the next day to be able to participate with a healthy mind, then it hurts my business. So you have to set aside self-care time. Yes, when you're first out there, we're going, but that self-care is going to be very important for the long run. The last thing you want to do is do everything for everybody else, and then you're the one who's hurting the most when you don't love and take care of yourself enough. So the first thing to do is rest your mind, take care of yourself, and be there for your family. So I have to put my family first, and that time is very important. Now, for the COVID, we were closed for 2.5 months, and our office was in quarantine, and there was a whole bunch of stuff going on. It was really nuts. And so we had to learn to adapt to it with the way that we work in our office, the way that we work in our warehouse. We have, a 35,000 square foot factory here that we build from as well. So we had to make some adaptations to that. It was hard as a business owner, going out to get the the PPE rooms and the patient protection things. And I just said, like, I had to regroup and replan and re-strategize to make sure that the next time I have that emergency income, and we also have, prepared for emergency types this way in the future. So I have learned a lot. It's almost like starting a business over again, but having. And the best thing that I had was that I did have a business plan. I did have some focus goals, and then I had to kind of regroup my business strategy to focus more on what I knew was bringing an income in, a successful income in, and balancing us out. And just kind of just refocus, like, what could we do better? What could we add to it that was going to bring us more income in and make us successful as a company? The COVID has done those things. We're very sad for people lost their lives from it, but it has, created a new industry for us as well, as far as we can see, because the tiny house and small house communities have picked up. So we're going to make it. That's how I say it. One struggle is just another lesson for us to learn, and what better in the next process when we see something like this. It could be any type of disaster. So preparing yourself for those are going to be important, especially for us as women, and those opportunities that we may or may not get between the disaster funding and new startup businesses. So during COVID, we've learned a lot to have to readapt and make some changes to meet the current needs.
Awesome. Well, I just really want to just give you a virtual hug and let you know that I appreciate just you being out the box, the first interview for Women Pushing Dirt. You are fabulous, okay? You set the standard for our daughters, and that's huge. And so I want our audience to understand that. And I'm going to go a step further to say, do this even when you're scared. As a woman, sometimes we're scared to start out on our own. And that's why I wanted to do this platform. And when I was approached to be a contributor to certain magazines, I just basically said, look, I want people to understand that they can empower themselves by following a blueprint of someone else that was a trailblazer. And that's exactly what you are, Miss Elizabeth. I just love you so much. I'm so proud of you. Once we get past COVID-19 and everything else that's happening, I would love to come out and just, bring the cameras, let people see your shop, and just kind of see where you're going. Just give us a day in Arizona, you know what I mean? And just let us see some of the houses and stuff.
Definitely will. I would love for you to come out and see the communities and to see where the new future is going. Love for you to come out to the factory. Let you know, women out there, I am the first woman developer of tiny homes that has a factory. And so I'm very happy and proud. And sometimes I forget that, but you brought that back to my attention and others, that what I'm doing and what we as women can do is powerful. So I hear very much in this market that we don't see a lot of women out there like you, and I'm going to tell them they're definitely going to see much more of us out there becoming more developed, doing our thing, and promoting others. And again, remember, always leave the door open for those who come behind you.
Absolutely. I really want to thank you tonight for just taking your time out and being the absolute first to just grace our screens. I thank God for you. You are amazing. I want our daughters to see what you do and just really empower women to really know that there is no limit to what you can do. You can actually go out there and start out with a dream and create your world. And you're creating a world for other people too. So it's amazing. And then the things that you're doing with the White House and everything else, I just salute you. And for raising your children, having 2 grown children and a daughter at home, I salute you, Miss Lady. You're a strong woman, okay?
I appreciate that.
Well, we're going to check back with you in a couple of, probably a month or so, once everything dies down, find out when it's a good time to come out and tour and just spend a day and see what you do, follow you around for a couple of hours, take you to lunch, and just let our viewers know, hey, There's a lady in Arizona, and she has a story. She's pushing dirt.
I appreciate it. And one more quick thing is I hope your audience can take a look at our foundation. Built this hope. We built tiny homes for veterans. We built the first tiny house community for veterans here in our state. We're building our second one, so if they want to get involved and donate, please check our website at buildthishope.com or .org, I'm sorry, and see how you can get involved and help those who are less fortunate, especially for those who serve our great nation.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Miss Lady. You keep reaching for the stars, all right?
I appreciate it, and thank you for the show and your inspiration, and good luck out there, ladies. You can do it.
All right, ladies, let's do this thing. Let's break a nail. Talk to you later.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.